10.2 day 1 is graphing, and this time, before we only had an a and a c, now they're also throwing in that we have a coefficient of b. So example 1 wants you to graph the function y equals negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 5. Okay, I know right away that by looking at the a here, it is going to open down since a is negative. So step 1 still is to find the axis of symmetry. So negative b, if I write up above here, negative 3 is a, 6 is b, c is 5. So negative b would be negative 6 over 2 times a, which is negative 3. That would give me negative 6 over negative 6, which equals 1. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 1. It then tells you to find the vertex. Okay, remember the vertex is always on the line of symmetry. So I know that my x for my vertex is going to be at x equals 1. I need to find what my y value would be, so I need to plug in 1 here. Negative 3 times 1 squared plus 6 times 1 plus 5. You can put that all in your calculator at once, and it gives you a value of 8. So I know then that my vertex is at the point 1, 8. Just like last time, then you have to find 2 other points in our t-chart. Okay, and I'm going to find 2 other points. And it says use the y-intercept. This means x equals 0. So if I plug in 0 there, negative 3 times 0 squared plus 6 times 0 plus 5 gives me 5. So another point is 0, 5. And then I need to choose a point that's on the same side of it. So I'm going to go down here and start drawing it so that this makes sense, what we have done so far. We got our axis of symmetry as x equals 1. I'm not sure why it did that. Let me try that again. It keeps doing that. X equals. Guess we'll have to leave it like that. So x equals 1 is our axis of symmetry. We then found the vertex to be at 1, 8. We said since a was negative, it's opening downward. We found our second point to be 0, 5. And then I want to find a second point on the same side here. So I can plug in negative 1 would be on the same side of the axis of symmetry. So if I plug in negative 1, negative 3 times negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1 plus 5 gives me negative 4. And let's think about this. We have negative 3 times, if you are going to use parentheses, you have, or the calculator, you have to put negative 1 in parentheses. So it squares negative 1 and not just 1, plus 6 times negative 1 plus 5. Negative 1 squared is 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Minus 6 times 1 is 6, because 6 times negative 1 is negative 6, plus 5. That gives me negative 9 plus 5, which gives me negative 4. So negative 1, negative 4 is my second point. So now I can go ahead and use our axis of symmetry and get the other side. Oops, let me make sure. 1, 2, 1, 2. Have to make sure I put them in the right place. Okay, and then you just go ahead and connect your points. And I am struggling doing it on this sketch pad. Definitely. Let me try that again. Let me start here and see if I can do any better. And it needs to look like a curve and not a V as much as possible, so it actually looks like a parabola. So it could be a quadratic function and not a graph of an absolute value. Okay, go ahead and turn your page. So the steps are exactly the same as what we had before, but if there's a B, that means your axis of symmetry will not be x equals 0. Okay, our real life example here is in professional fireworks display, aerial fireworks carry stars upward, ignite them, and project them into the air. Suppose a particular star is projected from an aerial firework at a starting height of 520 feet with an initial upward velocity of 72 feet per second. How long will it take for the star to reach its maximum height, and how far above the ground will it be? The equation h equals negative 16t squared plus 72t plus 520 gives the star's height, h, in feet at time t seconds. Okay, so if we look here, since the coefficient of t squared, so since our a is negative, the parabola is going to open down. And the vertex that we find then will be, if it opens down, the vertex will be the top point, so it will be your maximum. And that's what we want. We want to know for its maximum height. So basically here we have to find the vertex. So my formula is negative b over 2a. Here's a and here's b. So negative b over 2 times a. If I go ahead and I work that out, that gives me 2.25, which is x. X here is actually t, which is representing time in seconds. So it's 2.25 seconds. So it will take the star 2.25 seconds to reach its maximum height. It then wants to know what is the maximum height. So basically I plug in 2.25 for the time t and see what my height would be at that time. So the height would be negative 16 times 2.25 squared plus 72 times 2.25 plus 520. And if we put all that in our calculator at once, it gives us 601 feet. So to write my statement for that problem, it would be the following. After 2.25 seconds, the star will hit its maximum height of 601 feet. And that would be your final answer there. So please, if you have a story problem, write it in statement form so I make sure you understand the actual concept of it. So go ahead and complete the quick checks, and then you can look at the schedule for your assignment.